Hey everybody, Dylan Tyrer here alongside James Schiano to talk about Ohio State hockey heading up to Michigan this weekend. We'll talk about this past weekend first. It was a little bit of a stinker for the Ohio State hockey team. They lost 2 games to Wisconsin. First one was here at Ohio State. Then they went to the Garden as a part of a basketball hockey spectacular up there. Always respect the Garden, of course. And Ohio State dropped there in overtime to Wisconsin, 3-2 in that one. Mason Jobst scored, as did Dakota Joshua on a tip-in later. He was all over in front of the net. But the big story in that game was Josh Healy. He's going to face a suspension, and he's going to be out for the first Michigan game on Friday.
We got to look at the Josh Healy hit for a second. That is not a hit that I think will warrant a suspension. When you see the play coming, it was an open ice hit, and the Wisconsin player dropped to the ice. There were a lot of theatrics involved, and I really don't approve the NCAA's decision to suspend him.
Yeah, and now we'll take a listen to head coach Steve Rollick as well. He has some words about that one and what losing Healy is going to mean for this series.
It certainly affects a 32-minute-a-night guy for us, and we could be the first time that we have all 3 of our senior captains out of a lineup, which is pretty rare. But again, we're a resilient group, and we'll have 60 dressed, ready to go. And yeah, he's going to be missed, but that's just going to make sure that other guys pick their pace up and are better.
So obviously there you hear Coach Rollick talk about a guy like Josh Healy that plays half the hockey game, 32 minutes a night type of guy, which is really absurd.
Yeah, top defenseman is always going to be a major cog in the team.
And on top of losing Josh Healy, they're going to be losing Drew Brevig as well, who's out to injury. A guy that stepped up last series was Matt Miller at defense, and as well a guy that could step up, Matt Joyaux, is Sasha Larocque. Some more depth defensemen on that Ohio State roster that are really going to need to play big in this series against Michigan.
It's really going to show of the depth of Ohio State's defense, of if they really have the moxie and the grit needed to make some kind of Big Ten tournament run.
So this season, Michigan, not really like they were last year. No. Michigan last season finished second in the Big Ten, had a huge CCM line. All those guys are in the NHL now. So even though they're not as good as last year, they're always Michigan. We'll listen to Coach Rollick and Mason Jobst talk about that a little bit.
Michigan's Michigan. They're capable of beating anybody in the country, and we understand that. Again, we got a lot of respect for who they are, what they are, and playing at home. I say this all the time. We got to be at our best if we're going to win hockey games, and we're going to have to be at our best on Friday.
We can't look at Michigan any different. It's a very historic program. Red's a great coach, and we just got to prepare this as we always would.
Michigan is coming off of a bye, James. They faced Michigan State before that. We can't discount the fact that last season Ohio State swept the Wolverines, really came back at their place, Yost Ice Arena. That's going to be a tough environment. We'll hear about that a little bit later from Mason Jobst and Coach Rollick as well. But Yost Ice Arena, Ohio State won up there in comeback fashion. Then they played here at Nationwide Arena, and Nick Schilke won that one in overtime. Yeah. Awesome goal at the end of the game, but they're going to be without him. So like we mentioned, Michigan, not exactly what they were last season, but still you can't discount their skill. What do we need to look for?
Well, when you're coached by a guy like Red Berenson, one of the most decorated coaches in Michigan hockey history, you develop a pedigree of winning. And this team was ranked 11th coming into the year. They won a big game against the Boston Terriers, who were 4th in the country at the time. But since a series against Penn State late in October, where they got outscored 11-2 over 2 games, their season has really taken a nosedive. They're 3-7-1 their last 11, and you just really have to look at the effort in this team. Sure, they lost a lot of top-line guys to the NHL last year, but they still were returning a lot of upperclassmen leadership, like forward Tony Calderon, one of the top goal scorers on the team. And it just seems like there's something missing with this Michigan team this year.
And something you can't forget when Ohio State is going to play at Michigan. This season, they are 8-2-4 on the road, better than they are at home. At home, they're 4-4-2, and then also it really does. And then also in the Big Ten, Christian Fry has a Big Ten best 942 save percentage and a 237 goals against. So much better in the Big Ten than he has been out of conference, albeit they haven't played that many Big Ten games. But this guy definitely stepping up when it matters most. And that's certainly going to be in this Michigan series. Absolutely. Another guy, Mason Jobst, who's going to need to step up for the injured Schilke, has 31 points leading the team, and he's been on a huge point streak as of late, really lighting things up for Ohio State. One of the top scorers in the NCAA since Schilke has been out and since that streak started for him. Then another guy that's going to need to step up that came back this past series against Wisconsin after missing the Penn State series because of an illness, Tanner Laczynski, the freshman from Ohio State that won the World Junior Championship, the gold for Team USA, will be back. He leads rookie scorers in the Big Ten, or he's in the top 2, I believe, but certainly on Ohio State, the leading scorer for a rookie. And this guy can really put it in the net, also set guys up, a big playmaker for Ohio State, Philadelphia Flyers draft pick.
On the other side of the ice, a difference maker you have to look to is freshman forward Cooper Marody. A very highly touted recruit coming in this year for the Wolverines, was deemed academically ineligible by the university for the first semester. He's been back last 5 or 6 games. He's made a real difference in the Wolverines' offense and energy of play.
So what was that stat that you told me a little bit earlier about Michigan being outshot?
Yeah. Shocking. Michigan, as a team, has been outshot by 250 shots this year of their opponents. They've given up 250 more shot attempts than they've taken themselves. That is no way. That's not winning hockey. You cannot play that way. It shows a clear lack of effort, clear lack of intensity. They're not getting to loose pucks. That's probably the reason for the team's disappointing season.
And a little bit shocking for Red Berenson coach team, but certainly a mismatch in favor of Ohio State, who has the second most potent offense in all of NCAA hockey at 4 goals per game. That's the second highest output. Last week, they did not score their lowest goal total of the season at 3 goals for the entire series. But obviously, against Michigan, who has some goalie, you can talk about that a little bit.
You coupled our offensive potency with Michigan's lack of defensive prowess. And on top of that, the Michigan has played 3 goalies equal amount of time this year. 9 games, 8 games, and 8 games for 3 separate goalies. What's the old saying? When you have 2 quarterbacks, you really have none? I guess if you have 3 goalies, you just really have none.
All right, everybody. So Ohio State, ranked 11th in the country at 12-6-6, is going to take on Michigan, who is 8-12-2, unranked this season in a 2-game Big Ten Conference Series in Ann Arbor. First game Friday at 8 p.m. and then Saturday Yost Ice Arena at 7:30 p.m. as well. You guys can follow us at Scarlet and Gray Sports Radio. Check us out on Twitter at SGSROSU. See right behind us. Check out the website as well, sgsr.com. Then obviously, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, last season Ohio State 7-4 win over Michigan at Michigan, so that bodes well heading up there to hostile environment. And then it was the 6-5 OSU win here at Nationwide Arena. So it certainly should be an exciting one up there in Ann Arbor.
Absolutely, Dylan.